carnations or your roses, your focal, but I would say it's easy to do roses because they're different sizes. Whereas carnations all really are the same size, yeah? However, because these are yellow, you need to make sure that you do space them equally through the design. So I'm going to first of all put my roses in, and I'm going to choose my tightest rose to go to the top, okay? So the length of these, you probably won't need to cut them too much. Okay, so remember it's 2/3 to about here, which probably is about right anyway. Using the back of the foam, okay, I'm going to place in my tallest rose towards the back. That's my tallest one. My next step I put in is I actually put my focal flower in next. Now your focal flower sits, if you look at the whole design now, okay, it's like a cone wrap bouquet. Remember the cone wrap bouquet we did at the beginning, the stems? It's sort of one of those if you laid it down. So the focal flower sits here, which is about a third. Okay, so if you divide the whole design now into 3 parts, yeah, 1, 2, 3. So my focal sits here. And remember that dotted line, so this is your profile. So what I don't want you to do is cut your focal really, really short, that it sits like buried in there, but at the same time you don't want it sticking out too much. So what I do is I use my hand to brush down, and you want to touch everything. So my focal actually is going to sit about here. And I tend to go down with the stem a little bit to give you a bit more at the bottom. So that's my focal. I'm brushing down, touching there. These two are in line with each other. Okay, they're in line, that one and that one. This is 2/3, this is my focal, which is sitting about a third. Okay? Now I've got 3 more to play around with. Now, the quantity, if you look here, the distance of these two would be greater than maybe here to here. Can you see that? This is like 1/3. This is now 2/3. So I want to make sure I'm left with 3 roses. I want to make sure that there's more quantity of roses up the top here than there is at the bottom. If I did this and this, what do you think that makes it look like? Does it visually look balanced? No. Do you think it looks too weighted at the bottom, possibly? Yeah. So if I put 2 at the top and 1 there, it sort of spaces it a little bit, possibly. Yeah. So you've got your small one here, so the next smallest, which I think is going to be this one. Okay. If you imagine a little frog sitting at the top, okay, he needs to jump down to each of the roses to get down to the bottom safely. At the moment there's a big jump, he's going to fall off. Okay, so you need to have some stepping stones, and my roses are going to be a stepping stone. But I don't want this strong line running through the middle. I want to create some rhythm. So I'm going to slightly do a sort of staggered S shape. Oops. Sort of staggered lines of my roses. So I've got he's got there, so he can jump from there to there. Now he's got to get to here. So to go on to here, he's going to have to come over. So my next open one, which is this one, he's going to go there. This is called a focal line. So now he's got to here, but now he needs to get to the bottom of the arrangement. So to help him get the bottom, you put your last rose, and I would do the opposite side to sort of this one, possibly. Okay. Coming off over here. Now if you had extra roses, and I only want us to use 5, because I want to save this for tomorrow, you could, if you did have extras, you could put sort of on this side, over here, sort of build the shape out, yeah? So you can do your roses and all your points. But this, it's hot. You don't get a strong focal line when you start putting them all over the place. This gives you a strong focal line.
I was going to say, what would you call it then?
Yeah, it distracts it a little bit. So it's best just to keep the focal line running through. Yeah, so he evenly needs to jump down. The next ones I put in, I was actually going to put these carnations in because they're quite bright and bold. So I'm going to choose my tightest carnation. And I'm going to, this focal line's running across here, so now this next one I'm going to run across this way a little bit. So I'm going to put in this carnation slightly a little bit lower. That's always the top one, okay? Bring back a little bit. Keeping your eye with the outline. Let's bring it a bit closer. Because yellow's so dominant, remember, so you need to make sure it's equally balanced through the design. Always control your, if something doesn't go in, it could be because there's something obstructing it, to take it out and find another area. Okay, so my stepping stone of carnations is running down. Okay, like that. Now I'm going to start working over on here. Bring this one over here. Always cut with a carnation above or below the node. Don't cut right across. So choose, is it going to go there or are you going to go there? Yeah, so just decide. I'm actually going to put two carnations over here because I've got tulips which I want to run over on the other side. So this is how you can sort of show lines and groupings. Yeah, so I'm bringing my carnations over to here, okay? So you've got like this line of them running through. The yellow tulip, because again they're yellow, I'm going to bring this side now. Because you see the yellow of the carnations is going over like that. Can you see that? Yeah. I want to try and bring my tulips this side because there's no yellow here. It looks a bit empty. So I'm going to bring, now these have a curve, so you have to work with the curve. So if they are like that, work them on the outside edges. I'm always, when I'm placing in with the other hand, holding the container. And I'm holding them like this, the stems. Even these leaves are nice. We can use the leaves in our arrangement. Yeah, so even like these. Incorporate. Tulips grow in water and grow in the arrangement, so if you put them slightly lower than what you need, by the time they've grown, that's quite a nice stem with the leaf. I'm going to put that towards the centre and curl it in a bit.
All the leaves can grow as well?
No, they don't. It's just this part will, the stem part. So I'm bringing these tulips through this way now, over. So roses down, carnations have sort of gone down but over to one side, and then the tulips are going to go over to one side as well. These are good to get a bit of background if you want to give a bit of different colour as well. A bit of my foam. Oops, off from the tape. Two tulips left. I'm going to focus a few of them in the middle now because I want to draw the eye to my focal flower. So I'm placing in one here. And I'm going to place in one. Over this way. And use these if you want to as well. Iris leaves are also good to use and wire into your designs. So save any of those leaves you've got. Bring it just through the centre there. And then I would really use the carnations, to be honest with you, because the white's only through the middle now, to help with your outline. Any open carnations, try to use towards the centre. So I'm now going to use these to help with my original outline that we started off with. So buds always go on the outside edge. So even where you put those two initial pieces, you can start to use those. These nice open ones towards the centre. So I'm able to touch everything. You see, I'm not cutting everything short. You notice that? Everything's able to be touched. Open ones towards the centre. These are quite good, these buds on the outside edge. one more stem. So I'm actually going to put one over that side, one over here. And then use some of these. Then you can use low ones as recession. If you have got little ones like this, if you can put them low down. And even things now like statics, so it's good to have a filler. And I tend to use that low down in the design as well to cover around the focal flower. So bits like this take off that foliage. And if you put them so when I place in, I go like that, place it in like this, and with the other hand hold the container.
That's just almost like a mini pedestal.
It is exactly the same. The only thing with a pedestal is you'd use big, like gerberas or big lilies as a whole stem, or big flowers. The chrysanthemum you wouldn't break down, you would use them as a whole stem. Exactly the same principles there. And then to finish it off, you don't really want your customers to see the back. Yeah, and also water will evaporate out of the foam. So use any, and I wouldn't say flowers as such, but any leftover bits of foliage that you have, you would place at the back of your arrangement. It's to cover your mechanics, but also to keep the moisture in as well. And also sometimes it helps with the actual balance. If your arrangement's going to fall over, by adding some weight here, it will help to make it more stable. But I wouldn't actually specifically put too many flowers there unless you've got loads of leftovers and you want to.
Basically, while that's on the table, I never looked at it, the receptionist's got the black green pack.
Yeah, the receptionist sees the green. Yeah. They get the nice bit. Put the photos on there, I suppose. Yeah, and then to finish it off, you would spray with water. It's nice and fresh. There's lots of positive space between the flowers. They've all got their own little area to open up. They're not overcrowding.
Do you call that positive space in between the flowers?
Yes, because it's you deliberately put the flowers there.
In between the flowers?
Yes. The negative space is absence of the material.
So
Which
the
would be
space
really-
in between the flowers is negative? In between the flowers?
In between is positive because you've deliberately put the flowers there to create them.
In between as in there's nothing in between them?
Yeah.
Is positive?
That would be the positive. The negative is if you've got this triangle, it's better in the asymmetrical arrangement. I'll show you in a second. If you've got this triangle, but I draw a box, a square around it.
See, I'm always talking about between here and here is negative space. And
That's negative because it's the absence of the material. I'm talking about this space in here. This space.
The space that you've created by putting in your
Yeah, deliberately created by placing those flowers is the positive. The negative is the absence. If I had a square, say for instance this, from that point in the arrangement to that point in the arrangement there, this is the negative. Because it's an area of void, like space that's been created by not placing the absence of the material. You deliberately not put something there. But because you put something there and there, you sort of created it. If that makes sense. But the positive is the space within the flowers. If that went much longer here, then yeah, that would be negative because it's the absence of the material that's created that little void there. But the space in here is positive.
I mean, like, to me, it's like, it would be, you know, when you're saying that space, I always sort of think, well, haven't you created that by positioning them there?
Yeah, you deliberately put them flowers there to create the space between these tulips, so that's positive. By the absence of that material, you see this void of space here. I've got a colouring pencil and coloured it in, that's negative. Because I haven't put anything there, but I've deliberately put these flowers here to create that. Space is very tricky to get your head around.
I'll find it.
It's a lot easier in the asymmetrical because you can clearly see the L shape and you can see the negative and the positive.
Yeah, because I thought the negative was just anywhere where there was space.
Yeah, I
How would you
Everything
describe
is
positive
the
space
rose is occupying positive space, I thought.
then? If you talk about the whole arrangement, how would you describe the positive spaces?
the
in the
materials
arrangement?
are the positive space.
The actual material itself or the space around the material?
I always thought it was the
Then it's not
material.
space though, is it? Where's the space?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah,
wrong,
it took me ages to get my head around it, to be honest. It's that I'll get the Society of Forestry book to just explain how they've written it, but it's the deliberate act of putting the flowers there creates the positive space. It's the absence of the material here, this bit, that creates the negative space.
So part of it that isn't part of the form of the design.
Yeah,
is
the way it could be the space around it. So if you were doing the form linear, and you had like your group there, and you had your group here, you know, so you had like your 8 and your 5 and your 3, as you remember. It's about memories, the old type form linear, yeah? This is your negative. It's the absence of the flowers that have created the negative space. You haven't put nothing there, but it's achieved because you've got your groups.
Where's your positive then?
The positive is like between the two. Yeah, because you deliberately put the flowers there.
But you have deliberately put those there and there though as well.
Yeah, but like this, but there's nothing here. So by putting them there, it's created this absence of material. So the absence of material, which means like the material not being there, is the negative. The space within the flowers is the positive.
So confused.
I know.